All right, we will get started with players with senior offensive tackle Brendan Hymas. As most of you know, Brendan set a offensive line record for most consecutive starts with his 39th straight start on Saturday. So open it up to start today with questions for Brendan. Not seeing any yet in the chat. Sean Callahan, Husker Online.
Hey, Brendan, I know every senior has a chance to come back. I know a year ago you thought about going pro. I mean, I assume this will be it for you. I mean, have you kind of thought about what the next move is for you and with that option that's still out there for a lot of guys to return next year?
Yeah, there's two really good options. I don't think I'd be wrong with either option. Still have to talk a lot about it to my family and coaches, but right now I'm really just focused on finishing the season out strong. So, when that time comes, I'll make a decision, but until then, focused on the team.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey, Brendan. Kind of a strange senior day for sure, headed on for you on Saturday. I know you've been around these for your teammates in the past. And you don't even, you guys don't even know you could play at home next week, I guess. So all of that taken into account, what are you expecting the emotions to be like this week?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't think anyone's been in this situation before. So for our senior day to be in a year like it has been, I think emotions will be high. But like Frost always says, we have to control those emotions and still execute with passion and emotion, but just, learn how to control it. Proud to be a senior at Nebraska. Wouldn't have had it any other way. Obviously, if there were fans, that'd be pretty cool. But other than that, I love the way things turned out. I learned a lot more from losing than winning. I think we've all grown a lot more throughout this year. So proud of myself, proud of the guys I play with, and I think emotions will be high that day.
Andrew Ward, KLKN.
Hey, Brendan, when Keith said that, you broke a record for career starts right there, with all the great offensive linemen that have come through here, what does that mean to you to have that record now?
It means a lot. I came to Nebraska to be a part of an offensive line tradition, and to be a part of that tradition now is just something that I'm forever grateful for. All the people that have came before me, all the people that will come after me. To be where I am today, I couldn't have done without my teammates. When I was a young guy, people like Tanner Farmer and David Neville, Nick Gates, all those guys, I didn't do it by myself. So couldn't have done it without those guys.
24/7 Sports, Brian Christopherson.
Hey, Brendan, you were just talking about when you were a young guy. How's Turner Corcoran doing? He's been on these road trips with you and working behind you. Obviously, he came in with a lot of attention on him. What have you seen from him as he's gone about growing like you had to do when you were a younger player?
Yeah, personally, I think he's more mature than I was when I was in his shoes. I think he'll be a great asset to the team next year as he is this year. Whatever role he fills, I think he'll be able to do it to the best of his ability. Coach Austin likes him. Coach Frost likes him. So, along with all the other young guys, I think they're doing a great job competing every day in practice. But for him, I think if he has to take that left tackle role next year, I'm going to do my best to kind of give him all the advice that the older guys gave me, and just to pass down a legacy of being a left tackle at Nebraska.
One more, if I could. Cam came back and snapped it really well this past week. There was a lot of focus on him when he had kind of some rough time snapping it. Just what have you seen out of Cam Jurgens as far as, going through that process and just the confidence in himself to keep going and have a better week this past game?
Yeah, I mean, he works hard just like everybody else does on the offensive line and in the team. Obviously, he's had some snapping issues in the past, so he's had to stay after practice, come in before practice, and work on that issue. And obviously, it worked out this week. I don't think there were too many, if any, bad snaps this week. So, if that's the case, then he needs to keep doing what he's doing, and not slack off. So I think everybody's working just as hard as him. But like I said, he's a young kid, so with experience comes confidence, and I think the more confidence he gets, the more settled he'll be into his position, and the snap issue will hopefully go away. So
Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, Brennan, could you take us back to 2017 when you first stepped in the starting lineup? I mean, when that happened, could you have imagined that you would start every game from that day until now? And what does it take to start 39 straight games?
it has been a long 39 games. I'll say that. Did I see myself starting 39 ever since after that? No, honestly. I came to Nebraska at about 265, 270 pounds, and to start in the Big Ten as an offensive tackle at that weight is not ideal. But I came from, I feel like I came from a pretty good high school. I feel like my technique was for the most part there. Obviously, I made freshman error mistakes, but for the most part, I feel like I held my own. And then every year after that was just continuing to be a better version of myself on and off the field. And I think that's really what's helped me become who I am today. And then, like I mentioned before, the guys all around, I didn't do this by myself. I had a lot of older guys until I became the older guy who helped me along the way. So without them, I don't think that would be possible.
Was there ever a week in that stretch where you got to midweek and you weren't sure if you were going to be able to go? Like, did the streak ever come close to ending? I know you went down at one point last year, maybe. Did you ever come close to the streak breaking?
Yeah, I mean, there have always been a lot of small injuries here or there that, every offensive lineman gets, that everyone usually plays through. So, I thank God every night for a healthy day, healthy season, and pray for those who aren't healthy and for a quick recovery. So I'm just trying to finish out the season healthy and be the best version of myself throughout the season.
Couple more for Brendan here. Steve Sipple, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, I'm sort of curious in something you said. I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you. Why is playing at 265 not ideal in the Big Ten?
Well, it's pretty difficult to block someone across from you who's 6'6", 280 and can run a 4.44. The defensive line in the Big Ten, I think, is they have some of the best athletes in the country, and they're only getting better. So to be that light and to be as weak as I was, back when I was a freshman, it was very difficult. I had to lean a lot on what, at the time, Coach Kavanaugh had taught me technique-wise, and really lean on the older guys to help me out a little bit, especially with the offense that I had to learn that year. But playing at 265, 270 in the Big Ten is not what I would call an ideal situation for an offensive tackle.
How do you feel about your level of play right now, especially maybe compared to back then? Or how has your level of play developed as the years have gone on?
I think they've gotten higher every year. I think the level that I'm playing at has gotten significantly higher than when I was a freshman, obviously. Back then, I would really just focus on sort of myself, being selfish, didn't really know the playbook, didn't have the size, didn't have the strength to compete. But now I do have the size, I do have the strength, I know the playbook, so trying to be a team leader, bringing people along with me, bringing young guys like Turner Corcoran and Piper, bringing up to the level that I'm playing at is kind of my role as a team leader. And I feel like if I can keep doing that and keep bringing those young guys with me and everybody playing up to the level that we're all playing at, then I think we'll be very successful.
Thank you, Brendan.
All right, we'll finish up with Brendan with Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Brendan, you're the rare senior from that 2017 recruiting class, and most of those guys from that class are gone. I'm just curious, what was your mindset or your, I guess, motivation to stick it out for the years, and I guess what was it like to continue even though a lot of guys from that class have moved on since?
I wanted to show that I was loyal. I really had no reason to transfer. For the guys that did, they've had a lot of success. So everyone has their reasons. I wanted to come to Nebraska to be at Nebraska and be a part of tradition like no other. And I feel like I've done that. I put a lot of trust in Coach Frost and his coaching staff, and I'm glad that they are the staff that came. I couldn't imagine a better coach than Coach Austin. He's a main reason of why I stayed. I love playing for him. I love being coached by him. I love being with him every single day. He's a big reason of why I stayed.
All right, thank you, Brendan. We'll have, I believe, Ben Stilley next. All right, we will switch over to the defensive side with Ben Stilley. Let's Mitch Sherman from The Athletic.
Hey, Ben, kind of continuing the senior theme from Brendan a few minutes ago. What are your thoughts about Saturday? A different senior day than I'm sure you've experienced being an underclassman. What do you expect? And not even really knowing for sure if it's your last game in the stadium when we don't know what next week is going to.
Yeah, it'll obviously be different. This whole year has been different. It's really nothing we're not prepared for. Nothing can really be unexpected at this point with this year. So it's just gonna be another game for us, and we're gonna prepare like any other game we would, and go out there and try to get the dub.
I know you never played Minnesota at the end, but anything significant about Minnesota, in particular, with the progressions that you guys have made this year, and the way that game went last year up there, does it mean anything that you're playing those guys this week on Senior Day?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really anything of huge significance at a Senior Day, but definitely last year they ran the ball down our throats, and that's something we're going to be more prepared for this year.
Kevin Suits, KOLN.
Hey, Ben, since it's Senior Day this week, I guess it's time to get reflective. If you take yourself back all the way to your high school senior year, when you signed to come to Nebraska, did you envision your career going like this? And I guess for you, what's been one of the one or two highlights that you've had just along the journey?
Yeah, honestly, not even close. Not even close to anything I envisioned coming out of high school. My goal coming out of high school was, to hopefully be a starter by my junior year, get 2 full years of playing in, and be able to contribute. Obviously, envisioned having a lot more success than we've had. But yeah, it's been definitely different. But yeah, some of the highlights, for sure, that Michigan State win last year. And honestly, the win last week was one of the, I don't know, the happier games we've had. One of the happier moments, better feelings I've had in the locker room.
Andy Kendi, KETV.
Hey, Ben, the senior group as a whole, is there a underlying common characteristic among you guys? I mean, you guys are survivors. You've stuck together through coaching change, et cetera, et cetera. But what can you, if you had to describe the senior group to those who don't know them, how would you describe them as a group?
Yeah, they one of the first things they tell you when you come into a program is, look around. A lot of the guys you see right here on day one aren't going to be with you when you're leaving on senior day, and you don't really believe it. You don't really think too much about it, but it's crazy. This group of seniors, I love them all to death. I think all the adversity we've faced has brought us all really close together. But yeah, just one word I'd say is really resilient. The resiliency these guys have shown over the last 5 years has been impressive.
Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, Ben, your defense seems like a group that likes playing together quite a bit. Is that accurate? And I mean, what about it has made it a group that seems like it really just enjoys playing together?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just like the guys that are still here, especially my class. These older guys, we've been through a lot together. We've seen a lot together. We've been through a lot of adversity together, and we have a lot of trust with one another, and that really makes it enjoyable to play together. When you can trust your guys, young or old, just to do their job.
Sean Callahan.
Hey, Ben, you guys have the potential, maybe 3 games left still. How much does this team want to finish out on a high note? I mean, a lot of teams by this time of the year, obviously your mindsets are a little bit different. What's the mindset of this team with the potential 3 games left?
Yeah, definitely getting a win last week, I think really helped the team as a whole. Just the trajectory of where this thing is going. We know internally we know we've been improving, but it is nice when you can get a win to show that result. But yeah, I think everyone on the team is definitely hungry to finish the season out strong, potentially have a winning season.
And then, Ben, have you at all considered coming back next year? I know it's an option. Is it something on your mind at this point to return for another year at Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I've given a ton of thought, given we still have these last couple games. Really just focused on just finishing strong this season, and we'll kind of get to that after the season.
Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald.
Yeah, Sean kind of asked what I was going to ask Ben, but I guess I'll just follow up and say, do you guys as seniors talk about that amongst each other much about, whether you'd come back or what that could look like for you guys?
Honestly, no. This group, like I said, they've been through a lot, but the core group of us, especially the senior group, is just really focused on finishing this season that we're in right now, being present in the moment. All that'll kind of take care of itself later.
Journal-Star, Steve Sipple.
Hey, Ben, when you talked about Minnesota running the ball and you being better equipped for it, it seemed like you had some determination in your voice. How important have these last 2 games been to you guys, holding Iowa to 2.9 yards a carry, and then following that, Purdue getting -2 yards? How important is that to you in the big picture?
Yeah, it's definitely something we take pride in up front. Me and the rest of the D-line especially. That's our main job in the Big Ten. That's our first priority, stop the run. Try to make the team as one-dimensional as possible to be able to rush the quarterback after that.
And how do you feel like those 2 guys that are playing alongside you, the 2 young guys have come along, Rogers and Robinson?
Yeah, they've definitely made a lot of improvement from last year, especially. I'm happy with how they're playing. Really good to see them just put it all together and be able to do it at a high level at such a young age.
Thank you, Ben.
2 more for Ben. Sam McEwen, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Ben, I remember when I think you were an outside linebacker in 2017, had a couple of sacks against Illinois, and then they moved you down to defensive end, I think, right when the new staff came in. How long did you feel like it took you to feel like game in, game out, you were the size and the strength and the technique you needed on the defensive line to battle these Big Ten offensive lines? Did you feel like that right away when you made the switch, or did it take some time? And when did you feel confident about it every game in?
Yeah, definitely not. It was something I was having to grow into, just going from the smaller position at outside backer, and then just moving inside to a 3-4 defense. Coming in a 4-3 defense my freshman year, it was just something it took some time to grow into. It doesn't come naturally. I don't think two gapping in general is tough, and it's not something that kids out in high school are used to doing. So yeah, it was definitely something that took some time. I would say not my first year with this staff, but my second year in this staff is when I really began to get a lot more confident in my ability, just be able to execute the defense, size-wise too. I was trying to put on a ton of weight from that redshirt freshman to redshirt sophomore year. I was able to put it on, but it was tough to hang on to throughout the season. So I really needed 2 off seasons to be able to get it on and hold it on like I've been able to these last couple of years.
Thank you.
And finishing up with Ben, Brian Christopherson.
Hey, Ben, this 2020 season has been tough for everyone in college football with the testing and everything just to get through it. But along the way, Scott Frost has said you guys really haven't waned in your want to play and your eagerness to keep getting better. What do you think about this particular team has kept you guys on track and wanting to keep playing, through this and into December, and it seems like you're still eager to play? What do you think the traits are that have allowed you guys to keep that mentality?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a strong tribute just to our coaches as leaders, and then the players on the team as leaders too. Your team's gonna envision and embody really what your head coach is, and Coach Frost is as competitive as anyone I know, and so the team really kind of takes on that persona. And then same thing with the players that are leaders too. Definitely do a great job of just their mindset. I think that it's a group of mature guys, and that really helps mindset-wise. Some of the younger guys, especially I know myself personally coming in, your first couple years, especially that redshirt year, it's tough to have the proper mindset, especially to get through a grinding season like that. So I think it's something that comes with time, something that's built through adversity.
All right, thank you, Ben. We'll have another player here very shortly. Thanks. All right, next up, we've got Dicaprio Boodle. And then we'll have Matt Farniak and Dedrick Mills today. So if you have questions for Dicaprio, let's start with Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Dicaprio, just kind of continuing a senior theme here this morning. I guess I'm just curious, with your class, you've been here 5 years. What are some characteristics or some things that stand out about this senior group of guys?
Everybody, we all tough guys. We've been through a lot here. The guys that are still here, stuck through it. just continue to wake up every morning and just chip at it. Just be a tough guy in tough times. And, everybody in my senior group right now deserves, a round of applause for, everything that they've been through, that they've endured, and, just being able to make a good situation out of times that weren't always so good. So, just credit to those guys.
Andrew Ward, KLKN.
Hey, Dicaprio, I know that these are kind of weird circumstances with no fans in the stands and everything, but have you thought about what that final moment's going to be like walking out to Memorial Stadium for the final time?
No, I'm trying not to, cry. So I don't think about it too much. That's gonna be emotional for me. It potentially being my last game here. So I don't really want to talk about it too much.
Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Well, we'll try a different topic then, Dicaprio. As Cam has settled in and played sort of just one position now this year instead of bouncing around as much as he did the past 2 years, what kind of level is he playing at right now at corner when you watch him, and how good can he be down the road too?
Cam is playing at an elite level. He's a guy who's a heavy competitor. Somebody who, no matter what it is, we could be flipping a coin. He's gonna want to get in on that coin flip and be able to call whether it's heads or tails. He's just, that's just a testament to the guy that he is. He's took this year and took the time off to really help himself grow as a player. And I always thought the highest of Cam. I always thought he was a great player. Regardless, he might have had some miscues in prior years. Who doesn't? But that guy right there. As somebody that's younger than me, I really admire his work. I really admire the things that he does on the field, and just the player that he's evolved into over his time here. And down the line, he continues to do what he's doing. It'll pay off for him big time. So it's actually crazy because. We were talking about this earlier in the locker room, just telling him, how much better he's gotten over the years, and just telling him that I'm so happy that, he's been in my life for the past couple of years, so that way we can help each other grow and learn a lot from each other. So that's my guy forever.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey, Dicaprio, playing in Minneapolis last year. They didn't really throw it much. Didn't really have to. That was kind of a particularly rough game. What do you recall about the locker room after that game, and how maybe the feeling that you guys had then has impacted the team in its approach since that?
Yeah, that game last year was really rough for us. Going there and just basically having almost nothing go our way. Like you said, they didn't really have to pass the ball much. But after that game, it was like just a feeling of a lot of broken hearts all together in the locker room, just searching for answers, trying to figure out what we could do to get better. Trying to figure out where we went wrong, how we fix it in the next coming weeks. And I would say ever since that game, we've just been trying to build and build, even coming into this next season. That's always been a game that's just kind of popped up on numerous occasions that we think back to. Especially we obviously, I mean, we had lost games before that, but that game right there was kind of a little bit of a turning point in the season last year. So just trying to learn as many lessons from that game as possible. And I mean, it's a new year this year, so we just got to go ahead and just watch the film from last year and watch their film from this year and just go out and give it our best shot. Just go as hard as we can.
Does the memory of it make any difference this week?
I mean, anytime a team beats you the year before, you always kind of want them back a little bit. So I would say that we remember that game for sure, but we know that this year is a totally different game. The clock on that game hasn't even started yet. So, once the ball kicks off and the clock starts, it's just all dependent on what we do this week. So, the good thing about right now is we can control what we can control. And then, once we get there, we just have to go hard and play hard.
Steve Sipple, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, Dicaprio, going back to the Purdue game, how do you feel you guys did against Rondale Moore? I know he had 13 catches, but he didn't really get loose. How did that happen that he wasn't able to do it?
Yeah, he's a dynamic player. Regardless of what spot he's in on the field, he's a guy that you always have to keep for. Sometimes he lined up in the slot, sometimes he lined up outside on the island with me. Sometimes, he motioned into the backfield. So that's a guy that, any offense would be happy to have. But, basically what we did was we just did our job, Anytime he got the ball, we made sure to get a lot of hats to the ball. And it wasn't just with him. It was just, with everybody. Regardless, when the ball broke, well, there were 11 guys flying to the ball every play. So, just if you do that, regardless, you'll be able to stop just about anybody. So.
Thank you,
Kevin
DK.
Suits. Yep, sorry. Kevin Suits, KOLN.
Dicaprio, Minnesota has not played the last 2 weeks because of COVID. Is there a concern, or I guess the better word would maybe be fear, that this game may not happen on Saturday, or how do you guys see it from within the locker room?
I couldn't really tell you. I was so sure that we were going to play Wisconsin, and then, we didn't play Wisconsin. We didn't get that game. So I'm still very sure that we're going to play Minnesota, and as long as there's still a game scheduled for Saturday morning, I'm going to prepare like it. So right now, that's what we have. Right now, they say they're playing. Right now, that's the possibility. So I'd be doing myself a disservice not to prepare right for it, not to help the guys prepare right for the game.
Andy Kendi, KETV.
Dicaprio, what's the ideal situation here for you guys moving forward? You got at least 2 games, most likely, and possibly 3. What do you guys need and want to accomplish over these next 2-3 weeks?
I would say that we just need to continue building, build off of this win that we just had. The last time we came off of a win, the next week wasn't so pretty for us, but just learning from that, understanding that we just got to put in the work during the week, and just continue to just chip away at it. Guys are going to be locked in this week. Guys are going to be ready to fly around. Basically, we're just going to have to continue just doing what we do our job, do our assignment to the best of our abilities, know our opponent, and just continue to just chip away at it.
And we'll finish up with Dicaprio with Sam McHugh, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Dicaprio, I appreciated your thoughts on how tough this senior class is. You guys have certainly been through a lot of changes. I'm curious, do you feel like this team has enough tough guys after that group of seniors? And if not, how does it get developed? And if so, who are the guys that you look at and say, those are the guys in the future that are going to lead this thing back to where it needs to go?
I think that's part of the culture. We talk about culture so much, and when the guys at the top have been through a lot, it helps your program because we're able to look back at guys that are going through things right now and be able to draw from our own experiences and be able to basically help those guys through any tough situation that they may endure, that they may encounter. So there's a lot of guys in the locker room that come from tough places too. A lot of young guys come from tough places. A lot of guys, in my class come from tough places. So just not even just trying to throw out the word tough so much, but the guys in my class are very seasoned as well, and know how to relate to people, know how to be able to help people in time of need. So right now, our class, whatever may happen between now and forever, we'll always be close. And then the guys that come after us, hopefully they see that they'll be close too, just like we are. And then, it's just a waterfall effect. Starts from the top, go all the way down to the bottom. So, as long as they see what we're doing, they'll be able to emulate that and, be able to translate that into learning lessons, winning more, and, just helping this place back to the right, to where it needs to be.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dicaprio. We'll
Thank you.
grab another player here shortly. All right, we'll keep on moving through players. We'll have Matt Farniak next. And first question for Matt, Brian Christopherson, 24/7.
Hey, Matt. Ben Stilley said Saturday was one of the happier days for this football team. Honestly, since he's been on the program, just the way it all came together. How did it feel for you? I know Iowa was a tough game, and Scott said you felt bad afterward, just coming back and getting a team win like that.
I mean, obviously, it always feels good when you win. I mean, it's nice to see the results you want after putting in a long weeks of work. I mean, you don't always get to have that result, and it's always a nice reinforcement too of like, hey, we did the right thing. Let's repeat it and let's do it again.
Hey, what's Dedrick bring when he pops back in? He was out for a few weeks, and it feels like he has kind of a downhill presence running the ball. What does he add when you're blocking for him?
I mean, we know that he's gonna see a hole and he's gonna hit it. He's obviously he's not a dancer type. When he makes his decision, he's gonna hit it, and it's also just nice. He's an older guy. He knows the offense pretty well. So I mean, we know what we're supposed to do, and he knows what he's supposed to do. So it's just a nice kind of confidence of, hey, I'm gonna open up this gap, and I know he's gonna come bursting through it with everything he's got.
Thanks, Matt.
Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Matt, what can you maybe point to that's clicked for this team in kind of a larger sense, since that Illinois loss and now coming off a win? How do you guys maybe handle that differently or better than you did coming off the Penn State win going into Illinois?
Just a maturity thing. I mean, obviously we know how to respond when it comes to losing, and we kind of had to learn a lesson of how you respond when you win. When you win, it's all it is you get a day of happiness, but you got to go right back to work because you aren't granted a win, you aren't given a win. You have to earn it every day leading up to the game, and you can't slack off because as soon as you slack off, you've now fallen behind a day, and you can't make that day back up. It's got to be a constant fight and a constant strive to be better.
Did you guys learn that lesson in the last couple of days, and has that been kind of verbalized by coaches or some of the captains?
Yeah, I think we've learned that lesson. I mean, it's been so far it's been really good practices. It's been a focus of details of doing the right thing, doing your job, not just doing your job, but actually just doing your job correctly with everything you've got. It looks to that we've learned the lesson of what it takes to continuously be on the right path towards winning.
Steve Sipple, Lincoln Journal-Star.
You obviously know Brendan really well, been around Brendan Hymas a lot. What do you appreciate most about the way he goes about his business on a daily basis?
Really just he's got a standard, and his standard is across the board for everyone. And when you don't live up to that standard, he's going to let you know. Whoever you are, he's a guy that he's obviously a tremendous player. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He knows the calls, but he's also helpful for the younger guys, and he helps lead them. But he also is the guy that if you mess up and you're doing the wrong thing, he'll let you know, because he doesn't want anyone to fall underneath the standard that he has for the board. And so it's awesome when he's out there and he's got a voice and he's playing the game that he's really talented at playing.
So he's capable of being pretty stern, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Lincoln Journal star Parker Gabriel.
Hey, Matt, Adrian talked on Saturday after the game about that drive. We kicked the field goal eventually to go up 10 late in the game with all the penalties and all the stuff earlier in that drive. What do you learn from a drive like that about sort of, staying the course or overcoming, when something doesn't go quite right out there on the field?
It's just it's never going to be, it's not always going to be pretty. It's not going to, no one's going to ever have a perfect drive or a perfect game. But you've got to stay the course, trust in yourself, trust in your teammates, and just do your job. Because at the end of the day, if you do your job, the ball's going to keep moving, and we're going to get the ball where we need it to be.
We got two more here for Matt. Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey, Matt, you've been right there next to Cam Jurgens all year. What'd you think about the way that he played Saturday?
He had a lot more confidence and just trust in himself, and I mean it reflected in his gameplay. He slowed down the game for himself a little bit, and just everything went a lot smoother with him.
And finishing up for Matt, Sean Callahan, Husker Online.
Hey, Matt, just what did you guys learn as a team early in the year, just with the struggles that you guys had, and how has it made you stronger here for this back half of the season?
Well, in Big Ten play, you've got to come and bring it every day in practice, every snap of a game. If you don't, you're going to struggle. It's going to be hard. And Big Ten, honestly, the defenses in the Big Ten are good. You're not going to really ever have a easy game. So you have to be ready to fight and just honestly earn inches. And slowly, I mean, that's been a lesson that's been learned with some of the younger guys through the beginning of the year. And it's just understand that sometimes you just got to take the 3 yards and get ready for the next play and do it again. It's just a slow grind that you got to be ready to fight every snap.
All right. Thank you, Matt. And we will wrap up players here with Dedrick Mills in just a minute. All right, final player today will be Dedrick Mills, and we will open up here Brian Christopherson.
Hey, Dedrick, could you take me back to kind of how you suffered the injury and then what it was like kind of grinding your way back, from it the last few weeks?
I just know like that first drive against Penn State, somebody like I got hit by one person and another person kind of stood me. One person stood me up and another person came and hit me on the side of my leg, and I just felt like a little pop in my knee. And I just knew I finished the drive. I knew I could finish the drive and make a few more plays, but I just knew if I would have kept going the rest of that game, probably wouldn't have been able to play the rest of the season. So me being smart, took a chance and just told Coach, I feel confident in the younger guys. I mean, you can put either one of them, Marvin, Ramir, or Ronald in. You know, I feel like the game would still be the same. So, I mean, that's what happened, and the young guys got in and did what they're supposed to do.
You had to getting your first touch on the 1 yard line for a touchdown.
Oh yeah, that was just the warm up. That was the warm up. So it was just for me to go out there and see how I really felt during the game, and how I feel to get hit, because I ain't got hit in 2-3 weeks, you know, since that Penn State game. So it was just like and it's just kind of been like an up and down for the past 2 weeks with my knees. So it's like I wanted to go against Iowa, but then I was like, nah, I'm gonna just wait, give it one more week, and then came back out this week. I felt a whole lot more confident with my knee and stuff like that. So I mean, it came out and I showed it.
Thank you.
Jake Bartecki, Karen, you?
Dedrick, it's been kind of a strange year, and being a senior, how hard was it for you mentally to miss a few games in a season where there's only 8 regular season games? And then just how do you think you played on Saturday? I mean, the offense looked a lot better with kind of having a designated running back.
I mean, it was hard at the beginning to miss a few games, but at the same time, you like Adrian said, like when he got bumped from being the starter, it's just like you gotta have that faith and that confidence in your team that everybody still believe in you, everybody still love you, everybody still family to you. You know what I mean? And just knowing that you got people on you, that cheering you on, supporting you, they got your back through through the whole situation is just like it just motivated me to hurry up, like just to go to get treatment, go to the training room every day just to get my knee taken care of, so I can hurry up and get back on the field, because I know they miss me, I miss them too. Like, I mean, it's just they my boys, they're like my brothers, So when one missing, everybody feel for one person, feel for that person, So then that's why everybody take it. This game this past weekend, we lost Miles, so that we got a few more teammates that's out that we need, you know what I mean? And not having them, that give us another motivation and another booster to go out and just play the game a different way at a higher level.
Eric Peterson, Hale Varsity.
Hey, Dedrick, this is kind of a common sense question, but I'm just curious what your take on it is. What does it take to be good in pass pro or good as a lead blocker from the running back spot?
Just pretty much perfecting your technique every day at practice, which we do pass protection, like at least I know we do it every day of the week. Either when we got pass or don't have pass, we hitting the bag or hitting a few of the linebackers, So just working on that so much pretty much at least 3-4 times a week. Just help us in the game, and it's all about how you do it. Don't launch too much, don't lean too much. It's just have that perfect squat position, so you can be ready to lift power clean the guy when he comes through the hole.
Do you think it's more important to be physically able to take on a Big Ten linebacker or mentally willing to go hit a guy?
No, it's just more mental. You know what I mean? You gotta. Some people can look the part. You know what I mean? And I look good. I look good compared to a lot of linebackers. I match up with them, but you know what I mean? It's just all about that mental thing with your heart. You know what I mean? You got enough heart to go and lay a hat to this guy to help your teammates out. You know what I mean? And that's just me. I mean, I'm willing to do anything, lay it all on the line for my teammates every play.
Omaha World Herald, Evan Bland.
Hey, Dedrick, Matt was up here earlier talking about how, this team has maybe had to learn a lesson as far as how to respond to a win as opposed to a loss. I know you guys haven't strung a ton of wins together the last couple of years. What do you think that lesson was that you had to learn maybe coming off that Penn State win about learning how to respond to a win?
I mean, just all about, like I said, like Matt and Decap said, just all about that mental preparedness, that awareness of that we just won, but we still got more games left. You feel me? We just can't get the high head off this one game and think the rest of the season over, because it's not. You know what I mean? We got more games ahead. So like Matt said, we gotta always look at, have fun. It's just this one day. Yeah, we got the win. Like Saturday, everybody had fun, but everybody was back serious yesterday morning. You know what I mean? By the time we woke back up, everybody was ready. It was more people here at the training room and getting more treatment. You know, people getting lifts in and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You don't really see too much because people be sore the next day, but it's just all about that preparation of how bad do you want it. You know what I mean? How bad do you want your team to be successful? So it's just like, I mean, it's just not. I mean, like I don't know. Like it just wasn't that. To me, it shouldn't be that hard. But you know what I mean? Some people just ride off a win. You know, and we can't do that. We just got to stay humble.
Was that different after the Penn State win? Did you feel like?
Yeah, I mean, it was different, but now after this win yesterday, everybody's still humble. Everybody ready to go play Minnesota this week. I mean, we ready to go cap off what we did this past weekend and come back this weekend and do the same thing.
KLKN, Andrew Ward.
Hey, Dedrick, you've been very vocal about, just what this opportunity to come back and play in Nebraska has been for you. Have you thought about all, and I know there's a lot of questions still up in the air about if this will indeed be your final game at Memorial Stadium, but have you thought at all about what that moment's going to be like when you step off the field for the final time?
Not necessarily, because I'm not really even focused on that right now. I'm really just focused on this Minnesota game, this other game that we got after the Minnesota game, and then potentially the bowl game. So I mean, I'll know at the end of these games, and then right now I just can't. I'm not even worried about that right now, because like Cap said, it might make me cry. It's just a sad situation coming up ahead of us. So.
Two or three more here, quick ones. Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey, Dedrick, I was going to ask you about senior day too, but I won't since you just talked about it. What about? I know you were hurt, you weren't practicing, but if you could go back to that week after the Penn State game a few weeks ago and before Illinois, there was a lot of talk after the Illinois game about how that was not a good week of practice. Do you have to guard against that this week, or what do you do to avoid something similar?
No, I don't feel like we have to worry about that this week. I feel like all the guys know and know. I mean, they know what we got going ahead and what they got to deal with and what we got to put on the field, what we got to do every day at practice. And that's come out every day and practice like we playing in the game. You know what I mean? And I can honestly say like that probably the Illinois week. Everybody didn't prepare the right way that week. Everybody was still riding off their win. So I mean, and you saw that practice and today. I mean, with me being back, I'd never let that had never happened again. As far as being a senior, you know what I mean. And I know the rest of the seniors like Dicaprio and Farniak and Hymas and all us, like we be on players now. You know what I mean. Like these past few weeks, it's been different. You know what I mean. It's been different at practice. Like everybody's been catching every ball, grinding every play. People been in the right positions, been in the right place they're supposed to be at the right time, and it just showed in the game Saturday.
Two more. Sam McEwen, World Herald.
Was there a conversation after the Illinois game about some of the things you're talking about, and who in that meeting, if there was one, got ticked off and set some of the younger players straight?
It wasn't no specific player, none of that. It's just, just everybody understanding, everybody upset after that game. You know what I mean? And everybody knew we shouldn't have lost to Illinois. We knew we shouldn't have lost to Illinois. And it's just everybody upset from even having the fact that they come here and beat us in our house and then, enjoy their ride back home, which was never supposed to happen and left us side. So, I mean, they don't want to feel that again. So everybody made up in their own minds. We didn't need to talk. Everybody made up in their own minds, came back mentally ready for our game. And then it started that week. Practice was great our week. You know what I mean? Our week game. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but it just you had to keep building, which why we had the success this past weekend.
How proud are you of Adrian for, he was benched and now he's come back in the last two games. And how important do you think your guys' improved play has to do with him doing what he's done in the last 2 games?
I'm very proud of Adrian. I mean, Adrian, me been through a couple of tough, situations with the quarterback situation and just, but he like he said, he's a team player. I'm a team player. Whether we both either there or not, you know what I mean, or on the field or not, and we just mentally there. We dare to support our teammates, cheer our boys on, whether we in the game or not. I mean, you just got to be that type of teammate, you know. So it's just like I'm very proud of him. And I'm very proud of the way he stood up to that challenge or that situation that he was going through, you know.
Finish up for Dedrick with Steve Sipple.
Hey, Dedrick, just kind of wrapping up the discussion. There's some teams, it seems like they're sort of limping to the finish line nationally. Listening to you and the other players, I get the feeling that's not the case with you guys. It sounds like a hungry team. Can you pinpoint why is Nebraska so hungry right now?
Man, we so hungry. I mean, we so hungry. We really hungry right now because we're trying to get the program back to where it's been. You know what I mean? And everybody know Nebraska used to be one of the hardest teams to beat in America. You know, so it's just like now, it's just like we trying to get it back to that program. Everybody hungry to get it back to that program. Everybody just hungry and humble to, you know, become a Big Ten champion team. I mean, and also a national champion. So it's just like we just working hard, trying to, you know, prove to everybody with it's just a lot of negative talk on Nebraska. So we want to prove everybody wrong, you know. So it's just like we come out every day these past few weeks. We've been coming out every day these past few weeks, just going strong, going hard at practice, like. Even when you're not supposed to hit people, I mean, it still happens because that's what we want to see. That's what we want that to happen. I mean, you don't want to get hit, but it's gonna happen. I want them to hit us. You know what I mean? So we mentally prepare all week. You know, ready, look out for everything. I always have your head on the swivel. You know, so it's just like that. Just come with the game. You know.
Thank you, Dedrick.
All right, appreciate it, Dedrick.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will have Coach Frost here in about 20 minutes. We'll have a break till then. All right, coach is here, and we will get started. Brian Christopherson, 24/7.
Hey, Scott. Your guys still seem quite energized to play through the grind of this season. What do you think are the main reasons your guys haven't tailed off? Because I know it's a struggle around college football to go through this.
I think we have more guys on the team now that love football. That certainly helps. I think we got guys that care about each other more. They still feel like they're having fun playing and have something to prove.
Dedrick Mills said an interesting thing. His quote was, "There's just a lot of negative talk on Nebraska, so we want to prove everybody wrong." I think he was talking about some of the national conversation about Nebraska. Have you sensed that guys feed off that a little bit? Does that provide some energy too, some of what people have said about Nebraska football?
I hope not, because we tell them not to read anything that's out there. That has nothing to do with us, and we just need to focus on us.
Thanks, Scott.
Steve Sipple, Journal Star.
As a play caller, Scott, how much did it help to have Mills back there?
Yeah, it helped. I thought he ran tough, made a couple good blocks, did a lot of good things. We've been missing him. He's our only veteran back there. It's just weird how the day worked out. We weren't sure if we were going to have him, and then the night before game, we didn't think we were going to have Marvin. So we still felt good about who we had, but he went out in warm-ups and looked good and played a big role.
So you weren't sure Dedrick would be ready to roll?
No, he practiced during the week, but he certainly wasn't 100%. So we were just going to wait and see how he looked in warm-ups, and had a good warm-up. So he said he was ready, and we went with it.
One other thing, Brendan Hymas has made 39 straight starts. What does that stat alone tell you about him?
Well, he's been a key piece of what we've been doing. Great kid, really good player. He's stayed healthy. He's been committed and dedicated. So we're grateful we have him.
Thank you.
Jake Bartecki, KRNU.
Coach, can you speak a little bit to your kicking situation? I mean, that's a position that's been a little bit of a revolving door since you got here. Now you have Connor Culp. He's been really consistent, made a career long on Saturday. And just how much of a relief is it to have consistency in that position, and how much does it affect your game plan and play calling and whatnot?
Yeah, it's big. We haven't been very good at that spot the first couple years here. He certainly gives us a guy that we can count on. I get less nervous when I send the field goal unit out there. We start thinking about kicking a field goal deep from farther out because of his range. So it gives us a lot more confidence, and glad he's a part of what we're doing.
Thank you.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey, Scott, one more, or another one on Dedrick. It's pretty clear from listening to him talk how much he loves Nebraska, how much it's meant to him over the past 2 years. And obviously he hasn't been able to do some of the things in his senior year that he would have envisioned. What would it mean for you guys if you had the chance to get him back next year?
Listen, I love all these seniors. Great bunch of kids that have stuck it out through a lot. But I don't want to start talking about next year. We got a big game this weekend, and we'll have all those discussions after the season.
So as far as Dedrick's passion, how do you see that play out on a day-by-day basis? Just the feelings that he has to be in this program.
He's just always happy, always has a smile on his face, is always positive to be around, and I think that impacts the rest of the team in a positive way. Just such a likable guy and good teammate, and does whatever he needs to do for the team.
Do you have anything on Miles Farmer? Anything new?
Yeah, Miles had surgery. We won't have Miles the rest of the year, but the long-term outlook is good.
Evan Bland, World Herald.
Hey, Scott, a lot of the players today are talking about how do you respond to a win, obviously better than they did after the Penn State game. What have you seen from those guys these last couple of days, and what's been that lesson about how you come back from a win as opposed to a loss?
Well, you got to learn from a win and learn from a loss. I've really seen our habits and a lot of things around the building get better the last couple weeks. Coming off a win, you got to double down on that, do even more of it. Make sure you're focused. Focus is good, your practice habits are good, your effort's good, and I expect the guys to respond well this week.
Parker Gabriel, Journal-Star.
Hey, Scott, sort of a maybe minutia, but should Austin Allen have done something differently on the chop block that he got called for? It was sort of you use your tight ends in motion like that a lot. He's made that block a lot of times. I'm just curious what you saw when you watched that one back.
Yeah, we kind of got to get clarification on that because I'm a little hazy too. They kind of gave me two different explanations, and we'd practiced. That being said, we'd practiced staying up on that block and just kicking out all week. Austin played a really good game. He's had a great season. We'll get that fixed as a coaching staff.
And then my other question is, at this point in the season, is there any chance that you'll have Omar Manning back in the receiver rotation at this point, or is his season over?
I couldn't say for sure, but we just got to get him healthy, and he's going to make us a better team when he's out there.
Sean Callahan, Husker Online.
Hey, Coach, what can you talk about Minnesota here, or say about Minnesota when you watch them? Obviously, the situation, they've been out 2 weeks in a row. How tough would that be to kind of manage as a coach and then come back and potentially play here this week?
They're going to be fresh and ready. I'm sure they've had time to look at us. I feel bad for them that they've had the COVID cases that they've had. That's tough. It's just a tough year. They whipped us last year up there. Did a great job with game plan, coaching, and playing, and certainly got the better of us. I think our guys are anxious to play. I'm sure theirs are too.
And then week 9, Coach, you guys will be playing a game. What do you know about week 9? It just seems odd that really nobody seems to know much across this conference. You're going to be playing a game on December 19th, and there really aren't any details about who, where, when, where at this point right now.
Yeah, count me in the group that doesn't know much. So we're focused on this week. We'll worry about that later.
Andrew Ward, KLKN.
Hey, Scott, we just talked to a lot of your seniors. Just, do you have a word to describe this class, and why choose that word?
They're tough and they're resilient. I'd probably pick those two. They've been through a whole heck of a lot, and really starting to see growth on our football team. I've been seeing it for a while. It's starting to show up on the field, and those guys spearhead that. So it's a tough group.
Sam McEwen, World Herald.
Hey, Scott, you must have seen something in Adrian after, maybe it was after Penn State, maybe it was after Illinois, that convinced you that he could go in and do the things that you wanted him to do that he hadn't done earlier in the season. And he's done those things. What did you see in those practices that convinced you to do that? And how do you feel like he's rebounded just as a leader and as a player?
The rebound is impressive. Really, Sam, I saw that improvement from both quarterbacks. When I told them it was a competition going into Iowa game, both of them had exceptional weeks of practice that week. And we played both of them. Our plan was to play both, and the same this week. I think they've just been practicing better. We've been completing more balls, getting them off on time, making better decisions, and that's translated to the field. And I don't know if what happened was a motivation. I know in my college career, had a couple negative things happen, and I used that as a motivation, had a chip on my shoulder. So I don't really know if that's it or if some success has led to more confidence. But either way, both guys are practicing better and playing better on the field.
You in the last couple of weeks have leaned more on, best way to put it is walk-ons. Levi Falk and Oliver Martin. I know he's a scholarship guy from another school, but Oliver Martin, Levi Falk, Wyatt Lever. Was there also a shift there where you guys decided we're just going to play the guys that know the playbook and we'll do what we ask them to do?
Yeah, one thing we did look at is, we had a bunch of guys that were close, some of them being young and learning, some others that have been here. And we kind of figured we were doing a little disservice by spreading the reps out too much. So we did want to narrow it down a little bit. But that group of guys you see playing has been dedicated to this. We knew our walk-on program would take a while to help us. Those guys typically don't come in and play as freshmen. But if you take the time to develop them, they're going to help. And in year 3, I think you're starting to see a lot of those guys contribute. It was great to see Wyatt in the end zone, and Oliver and Levi certainly had good games too.
Thank you.
Aaron Sorensen, Hale Varsity.
Hey, Coach, 6 games in, how do you think Matt Lubick has influenced the offense at this point?
He's been a positive for us. Our receivers keep improving. He makes my life a lot easier. I can focus more on the team and attitudes and culture and things of that nature because a lot of it's getting taken care of for me. So Matt's a huge asset to us and especially to me.
Back to Parker Gabriel, Journal-Star.
Scott, could you give just your thoughts on the level that Cam Taylor-Britt is playing at? Obviously, it seems like he's really settled into playing corner well, and Dicaprio had high words of praise sort of for where he's at this point in his career.
Yeah, I thought both those guys played a really good game on Saturday. Both talented. Cam did some really good things and has all year, and I think he's on track to be one of our best players around here in a while. So we're lucky to have him. We're going to keep coaching him, and we expect that kind of play out of those two guys every week.
Back to Steve Sipple.
Xavier Betts is clearly settling in a little bit, at least. Where has he made the most progress in the last couple weeks?
It's just knowledge, Sip. I mean, he's a freshman. He's coming on. He's talented. He just had to get comfortable with everything, know the signals, know the plays, know the details, know the routes. Still made a mistake here and there. Ran one wrong route on Saturday. Didn't end up costing us. But he's a special player when we get him the ball. So we got to keep bringing those guys along. And said it a bunch. We have a lot of players like that really could have benefited from spring ball, fall camp, non-conference schedule, all those things. And they didn't get the luxury of any of that. So we're working overtime to try to get those guys more and more comfortable with what we're doing. And I think they've been improving every week.
How would you characterize Xavier's practice habits on a daily basis?
He practices hard. He goes out and does his job. Doesn't look like he's running sometimes, and he's still running fast. But he doesn't have any idea how good he can be if he stays on track and has good habits and works hard. And we're going to try to convince him of that and show him how that's done.
Thank you.
Time for 2 or 3 more. Kevin Suits.
Coach, this is the 7th straight week you're going to play at 11 a.m. And I ask this question just because so many fans talk about it. What are your thoughts on playing in the morning game? And then I guess additionally, what is the preferred time from a team's perspective to play on Saturday?
I think we all enjoy the 11 a.m. games. We're a morning practice operation anyway. So our guys are used to getting up and getting started. And certainly, especially on road games, it's better to get home early than be flying home late at night. So we win enough games down the road. Maybe we get moved to some other slots, but right now we're just anxious to play whenever they post the time.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
I know you talked last year after the Minnesota game quite a bit about physicality. What kind of a role did that game in particular play in the program and helping everybody recognize what exactly was needed in
they just out physicaled us. They executed better. They played harder than us. They beat us, and we can't let that happen. We got to do everything we can. They're really good in the run game. They run right at you and run mid zone, and have RPOs that a really good quarterback throws off that. And the running back is one of the best that we'll see. Really good player. So we got to be ready for that on defense, and got to try to establish a run game on offense. And that doesn't change week to week, but these guys really demand it out of you when you play Minnesota.
Finish up with Coach. Back to Sam McEwen.
Hey, Scott, I know you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, but signing day is in 9 days, I guess. And based on what we've heard, there's a lot of guys that are planning to enroll early. And I'm curious, knowing what you know now about COVID and the environment that athletes are going to come into, are you going to ask players to really think about whether they want to enroll early, or are you comfortable with all of them coming and knowing ahead of time that it's going to be a little bit different than, say, high school?
We're comfortable with them coming early, Sam, and this goes all back to what we said at the beginning of the season, that this isn't the only place. Our campus isn't the only place with the COVID problem. Those kids have an opportunity to get exposed to it no matter where they are, and in fact, we've had so few cases since the season started because our players are being disciplined, doing the right things. We have them in a safe environment, and I really, like I said before, think this is the safest place for them. So I don't think that's going to be any different for a freshman coming in. And I feel comfortable with them coming and would encourage them to come if they want to.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thanks, guys. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.